Okay, Ryan, how you doing? I've got your workup right here, and let's go ahead and get started. Let me just get that to a point where it fits right into frame. Perfect. Okay. All right. So we've got our presentation for 2022 Winter Olympics. Now, a couple of things that you've got a lot of logo variations here, and that's really good. I think it's great. Now, you got your final logo here. Now, there's one thing I would recommend is that you have your final logo that is it's a little cumbersome. Let me describe what I mean. Right now, the mark itself is very large in comparison to in relationship to the size of the type itself. And then also you've got the Olympic rings that are above, reside between the mark and the location. Then you have the year under that. So we kind of have this stair stepping effect where the viewer looks at your logo and goes, okay, I see this, I see this, I see this, and I see this, as opposed to seeing the whole thing as one solid cohesive whole. And I think one of the reasons behind that is the way things are spaced and the way things are scaled. So my recommendation, if you were to stick with this logo right here, is this. I would reduce, first thing I would do is I would take these rings and I would place them underneath Calgary, which asks the question, where do I put the 2022? You can do one of two things. You can move Calgary over, place 2022 next to it, or you can even take 2022 and place it somewhere above here. That might be an interesting touch. So that's going to take Calgary and it's going to draw a direct association with the actual mark itself. Now, I mentioned this last week, so I want you to think about it. And then you take the rings and bring them down here, and I think the size of the rings it might be a little bit large, but it's not too bad. So again, I would say that your mechanics would go like this. Okay, so here's the logo itself. Okay, about that size. Then Calgary. Then the rings. Okay, instead of having this big logo, then these big rings, and then this large Calgary, then the 2022. I really think it will help create this cohesive feel instead of this kind of fragmented feel that I'm getting from the logo. It's good that you have a vertical logo, a horizontal logo as well. It's really good. The problem is that it's not consistent with your original logo. If you have your original logo, what you want to do is keep it as consistent as possible when you change the variation to a horizontal logo. Let me show you what I mean. You've got Mark Rings Calgary 2022. Then over here in the horizontal logo, you've got this added 2022 Winter Olympic Games. Okay, so I would recommend assembling it so that you have the mark on the left, then you have Calgary with your 2022 up top or below, and then have your rings. And then just keep that separate as it were a separate logo. Okay, so other than that, I think the logo is really good. I think it's going to grab a lot of attention. The one thing I would recommend with the logo is you've got your logo. I think it's more effective to present it on white. So your main logo would be, or you would have another logo where you would have it presented on white with the same final logo color scheme. And I think the obvious thing there would be to swap out the white type for the blue type. Speaking of type, I think this type is a little dated for the actual event in 2022 and the contemporary feel of the Olympic Games in 2022. This is really it adds like a historical flavor to the mark, and I don't think it's as modern as it could be if it were to be if you were to use a sans serif typeface. I would recommend working with the sans serif. Now that's your decision. I mean, if you want to stick with the final logo, again, that's your decision. Those are some things that I would recommend though for the logo itself. Specifically, my comments on the mechanics of the logo. The sans serif is kind of secondary. It really depends on what kind of flavor you want for the logo. If you want to draw some historicism into the logo, this is a great way to go right here with that serif typeface. Okay, as far as placement goes, you're right in there. You know what you're doing. I mean, it'll work. It will definitely work. the one thing you want to start doing now is start getting these things placed into live settings, mock-up, ticket mock-ups. Your ticket design, your banners, your street signs, et cetera, et cetera. That goes mocked up into Photoshop, and I think we'll be on our way. Now the tickets, I think the tickets look great. You're talking about variations of tickets. I think really it's up to you which way you want to go. But right here is a really good example of how, I don't want to say how the logo could be more versatile. And remember I was saying it's the distance between the top of the logo and the bottom of the logo is pretty large, which means that it's going to consume a pretty fair amount of vertical space. So, and we can see that here where the actual logo itself, based on the mechanics of the logo, takes up a good more than half the ticket. And that's just based on the logo itself. So food for thought there. The variations of the logo, I think either horizontal or vertical would work, but I definitely think this color palette here is far superior to the white and the red type on the white background. Okay, and then t-shirts, everything else looks great. Now, as far as the t-shirts go, what I would recommend doing for your mock-ups on the t-shirts is go ahead and mock these up right on an actual image of somebody wearing a t-shirt. You can use a technique called a displacement map in Photoshop, and that allows you to place the logo right on a t-shirt, like somebody wearing a t-shirt, an image of a guy wearing a t-shirt. You put the logo, assemble the shirt as such, the logo right on a shirt, and the displacement map will conform to the wrinkles of the shirt, the contours of the shirt. And again, that's called displacement map. It's really super easy, and you just do it in Photoshop. You can research quick research tutorial on displacement map in Photoshop. Otherwise, these look fantastic. Everything is really coming along nicely. Just those comments on the logo, really. All right, great job. Any questions at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to clarify. Good job. Thank you.